Welcome to the Pause Rewind Play podcast. We're back again. Dun, 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 dun. Is John Cena gonna sue me now?
Coming for you.
We should start. I should start whistling that Earth, Wind, and Fire song.
I can't remember the words.
No. The what is it? Oh, sorry. Oh, the.
I thought you were doing the Peacemaker.
I know the words. I'm just humming it because the bird that lives here with Vince can whistle it.
Start whistling.
You have a bird?
Paige does.
Oh.
Yeah, my little sister is living in the other room now, and she brought her zoo with her. Remember the dog last week?
Oh,
and
gosh, yes.
There's a cockatiel, I think, back there. And it can do the Earth, Wind, and Fire song, and it can do R2-D2 noises, and it does the Final Fantasy. It's pretty cool.
Really? Are you guys ready to jump into this list?
I'm ready.
Yep, let's do it.
Josh, you got some stuff you want to talk about. You got honorable mentions?
Yeah. So definitely. So obviously, it's one of my favorite episodes of the year. I mean, we kind of do them back to back this year, luckily, because of our timing. So we've got our top movies of 2021, and these are our personal favorites. So no judging, because we're allowed to like what we like. So take that.
Yes,
No
so
full
suck
judgment.
I'll judge you guys for your choices. No.
JK.
I always love hearing like what everyone's top 10s is and like seeing how our lists compare to each other, like which movies overlapped, which ones some people liked, some people didn't. Like, I just love hearing it. So, I do have. I watched like probably less movies than other years, but I do still have quite a few that I liked, but that didn't end up making my list. So my super quick mention of my honorable mentions were Luca, the only Pixar film released last year. I liked it. I didn't end up making my list. The Suicide Squad didn't end up making my list. Army of Thieves, which is it's like the sequel to the, what is it? Army of the Dead.
I never watched it.
The Army of Thieves?
Yeah, that's the sequel to the one with the zombie one.
Yeah,
right? The
so
Snyder
it's like
zombie one?
it's a sequel, but it's like a prequel, like in the timeline, and I really like it because it has the guy who's like the thief or whatever, but it's him when he first gets pulled into it, and it's with Natalie Emmanuel, who is she's in Game of Thrones. She's like it's been so long since I watched Game of Thrones. Emilia Clarke's like right-hand woman.
Oh, okay.
So, like, she's there, like, recruiting her, and then Rubio Fee is also... It's just, like, a lot of people, and they go and they, like, do these heists.
Mercende.
Like this. Yes.
Mercende.
Yes. And they go and they do these sequences of heists, and it was good, but it didn't end up...
I was so
list.
turned off of that Army
Yeah.
of the Dead, the first one. I was like, I don't want to see anything else in this
And
series.
they both released in the same year, because that released last year as well. That didn't make my honorable mentions, but this one did, so...
Okay,
I'm not
maybe.
saying it's a lot better, but I did like it more.
But it was enjoyable.
Yes. The Alpinist, which I will completely space the name of the climber who it was about, but it was about the guy doing the free solo ice climbing, the guy who lived in Canada, French guy. I apologize.
I remember what this is about, but I didn't watch it.
But they did. So it's a documentary about him, and it was on Netflix, and I watched that and I really liked it. And then my last honorable mention is, since it's not my top 10, it's not really cheating, is the trilogy of the Fear Street movies that came out last year.
Oh, the Goosebumps.
Oh, yeah. Those were way fun, actually.
Those are fun. I like those. So
They're
that's
kind of
my-
Goosebumps style, right?
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
like
yeah,
that. Yeah, okay.
Weren't
But then
they
it, like-
based off of like 3 different eras of time type
Yeah,
thing?
it was because it was like Fear Street, like 1996, like 1984, and then like 17 something or whatever.
1776.
So
Cool.
it was really cool, and it had a lot of people that you like know from like other Netflix stuff. Had very briefly, and I'll just mention these ones because I like these ones. Robin from Stranger Things, and then Sadie Sink, who is Max in Stranger Things. She was in it, so a lot of cool people.
Cool.
I really like those. Anyways, those are my honorable mentions.
I just have one honorable mention, and not even because the movie's good or that I enjoyed the movie, but because the experience was so good. The experience seeing the movie was so good. So, middle of COVID, right? 2021. Haven't been to a movie in who knows how long. Me and my brother-in-law decide to go see Godzilla vs. Kong in IMAX. Have zero expectations for this movie to be good, and was correct. dumb movie. So stupid.
I mean, see that IMAX would be pretty cool though.
Exactly.
I just watch it on the couch.
Still, I can't tell you what the story of that movie was, but watching two giant monsters fight each other in a, I'll say this twice, private IMAX showing. That's right, a private
Wait, like,
IMAX
just
showing.
you and your brother?
Because it was middle of COVID, there wasn't a single person in that theater other than me and my brother-in-law in the entire thing. So we had a solo, just the two of us, IMAX watch giant monkey and giant lizard fight each other for 2 hours moment.
And you still paid like $12 a ticket or $15 a ticket or whatever, right?
Yeah,
You had the whole
for
place to
cheap,
yourself.
and we had it all to ourselves. And,
That's amazing.
and we hadn't been in the theater in so long. And it's just one of those moments that I will probably remember the rest of my life, not for the movie that I saw, but for the experience that I got after having not been in that theater for so long.
I remember like one plot point. It's just like where they go, like spoilers for this like year-old movie where they go to like the under earth or whatever they call it, like the in between, like the crust. And I don't know. I just remember that. That's
Yeah, I remember them
literally
going
the
down
earth
there.
below.
something like that. Yeah.
And they got some kind of monkey axe. I can't remember.
No, it was though, right? Oh my goodness, wild.
The monkey
Wild.
axe sounds very exciting. I don't know what's
think-
going on.
I think he used like a part of Godzilla's scales or something and attached it to a stick.
make,
do
like,
they
a hatchet.
do they
Or maybe
fight
they found
a
it in the
robotic
cave.
thing later?
Yeah, they end up
do.
fighting. I think they end up fighting Mecha Godzilla at the end.
Mechagodzilla.
So
I
at
think
the
I
end of it.
watched part of this like one night when I was like sleepy, and I remember like the monkey having a hatchet or something, and that robot Godzilla, and then I remember they teamed up and fought each other type thing and did
Yeah.
that like thing where the two hands come together. Like that's what I
Does
remember.
that happen?
I don't know if it happens, but that's
Dude.
like they joined forces, right?
If
So,
that
like,
didn't happen, I need that GIF. Godzilla arm and King Kong arm doing the Arnold Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers. It's Carl Weathers in
Yeah.
Predator, right? Doing that giant
Yeah.
high five
Yeah.
arm wrestle. I need to see Godzilla.
But
and
that's pretty much like
King
my
Kong do
impression of what they did, because I remember seeing part of this. Now I'm like, maybe I did watch it. I don't know, but that's rad.
That's what it is. That movie's just a giant fever dream.
Did you have any honorable mentions, Case?
To be honest with you, I only watched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 movies. And the only movie that didn't make my list was Halloween Kills.
Is it an honorable mention though?
So
Is it honorable?
But what's really hard, I don't know.
Let me tell you,
I don't know. It's honorable.
Evil dies tonight.
Evil does not ever
Josh,
die.
Evil dies tonight.
Evil dies tonight.
Hey, did you know Evil dies tonight?
4,000 times.
Curtis, Vince. Come on.
I was so disappointed. What was she doing? This is her one miss. Like, why did she do this movie? She was
Yeah.
so proud of it too, and leading up to it, and all the.
Isn't there
stuff.
another one?
Are they making another one?
Halloween Ends? It's something like
She's
that.
just
where
trying
it's
to
like a
milk it
trilogy.
and like finish out her career where it started, type thing, guys. Like, I don't know. I
bottom?
thought that was dark, but yes, probably. No, I didn't love it, right? And there was like a lot of dumb monologue, dialogue, whatever you want to call it. But like, it was a Halloween movie, and it filled my desire for gore, and so that's why for me it's an honorable mention. But let's just put it as a mention and not an honorable
There you
mention. There we go.
We mentioned it. We talked about it for a couple minutes, so there you go.
But yeah, so after a lot of review and heartwarming review of things, I did watch enough movies to make a top 10. So
There we go.
I think I'm ready. Are you guys ready to start?
Let's kick it off.
I don't know why that John Cena thing. It's probably because the Suicide Squad is in this conversation, and John Cena's character was the best part for me. So
I haven't watched that series.
I was gonna say, you watched Peacemaker?
I haven't watched Peacemaker.
Oh, so when I started singing the song, neither of you guys got what I was doing.
No.
Because that's the theme song for the opening song for the Peacemaker series.
Right.
Anyway, I don't even remember the lyrics to it. Anyway.
Doesn't he
Oh, yeah.
sing it? Like, doesn't he like?
No, it's the act, but they have a dance to it.
Yeah,
and
doesn't he have a
it's freaking
dance type thing?
hilarious.
Like, I just remember seeing something about why the Peacemaker's like intro is so important or so dumb or something.
Yeah.
It's
But-
really fun to watch. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm
John
excited.
Cena, I don't like him as an actor, but the man was born to play Peacemaker. He is so funny as that character.
There we go.
Anyway.
Back to another what we'll be watching. There you
Well,
go.
well, yeah, we'll have to dig it out and bear it out. But Josh, do you want to start with your? Well, you start with your honorable mentions.
Case.
Huh?
Go ahead, Case.
Me. We're doing
We'll
number
just
10.
go back around the table.
We'll do number 10.
Number 10.
My number 10 was the Forever Purge, actually. So I'm a huge fan of the Purge series, and I actually love the idea of the Forever Purge. It's kind of more based around stuff that happened in 2020 and like election type stuff. But the idea, I don't know if have either of you guys seen the Forever Purge?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I've only seen the
Forever
first
Purge.
I've
Yeah.
just
the
seen like
first
the
Purge.
trailers.
Okay, yeah. I love the Purge series, and it's just because it's ridiculous, and it's like actually like it's the worst case scenario for a lot of people. And so, right, it's new founding fathers stuff, but like which is the party that controls the government and created the Purge. But yeah, I would say watch it. It talks about bridging gaps between cultures and how the most surprising people can help you out, but it's also got that gritty gore in there that you love with the Purge, and so it's got a good story. Yeah, so for me, number 10 was the Forever Purge.
Perfect.
Vince.
So my number 10 was Bo Burnham Inside.
Nice. I didn't make my list, but I liked it.
You saw it too, right? Yeah.
I didn't think about it for the list. It might have
Oh, yeah.
made it, but
I was flipping through my things and saw it on there, and I don't know. I was surprised that it made my number 10 too. But after flipping through all of them, I would rather take off a couple of other ones than, like, even the new James Bond I left off over this one.
yeah, me too.
James Bond didn't make my list at all.
Which surprises me with how much I know you love Bond.
Yeah, I thought
And
that
it was good.
it was so forgettable. Like it was fine, but I don't remember it at all.
I literally just remembered the end, right?
Yeah, exactly. The one
I
moment that
saw
was so
the-
like controversial
The
for
actress
some dumb reason.
that was in it, like for most of it or whatever. Not Anna de Armas, but the other one.
Oh, I
like,
forgot
saw
Anna de
her-
Armas was in it. Oh, that part was
That
good.
part was fire. Like it was good. I still think it probably wouldn't make my top 10, but it's like I really liked it. It's just there's a lot of parts that were like whatever. I just remember I saw the actress in something else, and I was like, oh, how do I know her? Oh
It's
yeah,
from that?
she was
Okay.
in James Bond. All right, yeah. So
I forgot Anna de Armas was in it. That part was sweet. That part was really good.
Yep.
Anyway, Bo Burnham, Inside. Wow, like that kid's talented. I had no idea Bo Burnham was that talented, but he made a movie during the pandemic, and he wrote, filmed, starred, did everything by himself. Got it put up on Netflix, and it's really good. It's been a long time since I watched it, but I remember it hits home in a lot of ways, and it is a reflection of society and a reflection of the internet in general. A really good reflection of it. He just gets it, and he's able to translate that and put it up on screen and make it funny and entertaining in a way that it's very unique to him.
I actually know parts of songs because of reels, but I haven't watched it, and I've heard that I should watch it. Like multiple people are like, you would relate to this or understand it with your humor, and I'm like, would I? Because every time somebody recommends it to me in that way, I'm like, would I understand it though, or are you just thinking I'm a cynic? I don't know. But I've actually heard that from tons of people that it's just a very well written, and it was apt to society as it is. So
Yeah.
I think I need
It
to
doesn't
watch
feel
it.
like it's got a message to it, but it doesn't feel like he's like
you're not shoving in your
preaching.
face.
Yeah.
It's funny, and it's like it's also really smartly written. Where the things he writes, like they're funny, and it's done in a very smart and hilarious way. Where it's not just like stupid, like or something like it's really
or preachy
hilarious
even,
the way
you
he
know,
does
like
it.
it's not like he's like, look at how bad society is, you know, and like kind of shaming people. Yeah. He does it in a way that's just well received and makes you kind of self-reflect on society and yourself in general. It was really good. I really enjoyed it.
There you go. Bo Burnham's Inside. Vince's number 10. My number 10 is my 9 and 10 are two of the three Oscar ones that I have on there, and my number 10 is going to be King Richard. I really loved King Richard, and Will Smith did an excellent job. The young actresses who played Venus and Serena did an excellent job. Overall, just a really heartwarming story.
Can I do a bad joke?
But I love it.
Did
Yes.
Will hit it out of the park? I'm sorry, that's my only joke.
That was truly terrible. But yes.
So based off what you told me, by the way, after listening to our last podcast where we were talking about Oscar nominations, I went through and I actually watched a couple YouTube videos where people were also talking about it. And from what I understand, like this is this film like actually shows like the dedication of parents, right? Kind of
Yep.
like the parents' part in helping their children become successful.
Yeah.
And like for that, like I guess it resonated with a lot of people who are in our era of time where we're like old enough to have kids, and like what I would do or wouldn't do and how far would I go type thing. It's a feeling that a lot of people kind of resonated with. Did that resonate for you, or was it just kind of like what resonated for you the most?
So it resonated for me, like that idea of being willing to do whatever it takes to take care of your family and your kids. And obviously, like, it doesn't resonate for me in the point of like, yes, I'll like have a plan for my children's life and all this stuff, blah 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 blah. I don't have kids. I don't have plans in the near future to have kids or anything like that. But coming from a family where like my parents were very, good to us and were able to raise us well, I was like, it really just makes you a lot of times appreciate, maybe like from that other end was a lot of what resonated with me was, like obviously I definitely grew up in a lot better situation than being in Compton growing up and going from that to being like a tennis superstar, right? That's not me, and it would never be anything close to that, right? But still, to be able to have an appreciation for your parents doing whatever it takes to take care of you and to do what it takes to take care of your family and not taking any other way, doing what you want, right? And it's like, it's very interesting because he's very confrontational, and some of those are the most hilarious scenes with him and John Bernthal, right? Like them going at it with each other and him being like, no, this is the way it's gonna be. Like, it's hilarious, but yeah.
It was really fun to see John Bernthal in that role too. It's such a different character than I'm used to seeing him in. I'm used to him being the like gravelly, angry guy, and he's like the complete opposite in it.
So funny.
King Richard is my number 6. I loved that movie. I grew up playing tennis in high school, so I'm kind of a sucker for any tennis movies. The Wimbledon movie is really good. And this one was just done so well. Will Smith just killed it in the role. The twins, or the two girls that played Venus and Serena, I guess they're not twins, but the two girls that played, and Will Smith's wife in it, I can't remember her name, just the performances are amazing, and the tennis is just fun to watch. Like, the matches themselves are so fun to watch in the movie.
Yep. All right. So we just go back around this time, I guess?
Yeah.
All right. Number 9. My number 9 was, I'm looking at Vince. It was Drive My Car. Like we talked about, I won't go over it too much because I went over it very in depth in our Oscars episode. There was just a lot of stuff that resonated very deeply with me with loss and moving on after you lose people and being able to share that burden with other people and talk about it. There's a few very emotional scenes which made this movie worth it for me that I could not leave it out. And I have left quite a few of the Oscar nominations out, and I don't like love doing that, but just the ones that made it were the ones that I enjoyed the most for me personally. So Drive My Car, my number 9. Vince.
Okay, number 9 is, and I have a couple of Oscar movies on here, and I feel like we've talked those over, like you said, in the last episode, so I'm not really going to go into depth on this, but my number 9 is Nightmare Alley. Beautifully shot movie, really well-acted movie. I really enjoyed it. If you want to hear more of our thoughts on it, go listen to our other podcast episode.
So Nightmare Alley was actually my number 7, and I want to talk about it. Yeah, I can talk about it now if you'd like.
Yeah, go.
Yeah. Nightmare Alley was actually incredibly cool because it's kind of like talking about the circus and kind of like what happens, but it's a full circle movie. It's kind of like what goes around comes around because they pretty much tell you the end of the movie at the start of the movie, and it's actually really well thought out. Matthew McConaughey does fantastic in it. Bradley Cooper. Son of a nutcracker, yes, but you... Yeah, sorry, yeah, but Bradley Cooper does fantastic in it, and the supporting cast is actually quite amazing. Like you jump in and you're like, holy crap, because I forget the guy's name, but the guy who plays like the fortune teller type guy, the partners with the fortune teller lady who does the tarot cards, I forget his name, but he's really good, and then the cast is all around great. I'm trying to think of the lady who... Now I feel like an idiot, but I got Bradley Cooper's name wrong, and now I'm like, ugh. But I thought the whole movie was good. It was fun. It was a good timepiece, and it kind of like represented like it was around wartime, right? Like the World War II, I think was around that era of time when it was, or I don't think it was late enough to be Korea, but it was like World War II era. So very cool movie. So that's my number 7.
And your number 9.
My number 9 was The Suicide Squad.
Woo!
It was one I watched here with Vince actually at his house. I came over and we watched it. And the reason I chose that one is it was fun and it was a comic book movie. It was entertaining, even though it was like one of the few new movies I watched. It was one that I've like remembered and like randomly been like, that was fun, because it wasn't what you expected. Like what you thought was going to happen didn't happen, and I just keep thinking about James Gunn's brother who played like the rat or whatever,
The weasel.
the weasel, and I just keep thinking about him like sorry, spoilers, but getting up at the end and just disappearing. And it's like, but then also we got the Punisher out of not the Punisher, Peacemaker out of it. And sorry, I looked up John Bernthal and the Punisher logo is right there on my phone. But yeah, like I thought it was fun. So yeah, and we got to see Kim Kardashian's boyfriend of the day, Pete Davidson for a minute in that show. So kind of fun.
I remember. Suicide Squad is my number 3 for the year.
Okay.
I loved it. I love it when DC doesn't try to connect their stuff. They just let a director, an artist do their thing. I mean, look at the Batman that just came out. You know, they thrive when they don't try to emulate what Marvel is doing. But I remember sitting at work one day, and I remember Cade being excited for Pete Davidson to be in this movie, and I remember him saying something along the lines
after
of,
you'd already seen it?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
We hadn't seen it yet, but I remember him saying before any of us saw it that how he was excited to see what Pete Davidson does in the movie, and then how he just dies immediately.
Hey, it's me, guys.
I remember seeing that and thinking, okay, it's gonna be pretty disappointed.
We did that whole freaking that poll. We did that like Excel sheet
Yeah,
where
we did a
everybody
Deadpool.
put like, who do you think is gonna die in the Suicide Squad? And who was it? Like Tyler like got it almost exactly right, I think, or something.
That was fun. I love that movie. It's just it's R-rated and adult without feeling like they're trying. You know, like I feel like DC has been trying to do this thing like Titans, you know, where it's like, all right, people want an R-rated, you know, adult show, so we're going to make this R-rated and adult, and it just feels like they're trying so hard, you know, like, look how edgy and adult we're being, and this one just, it makes it so easy.
Yeah.
Like, James Gunn just does it so easy.
I also love what you talked about, just like the free form of like letting their people create and just do things, because I hope DC listens to this and keeps doing that, because otherwise their studio's going to get bought out by Marvel and we're going to get the same gaudy thing after a while. But that's all I wanted to say, because I actually like that was one of the things I was like, this is just fun.
Mm-hmm. And it's just so much fun.
Yeah.
So well done.
It was super fun. I was scared, like, when I first watched the movie, like, when everyone died, like, at the beginning, I was like, this was a very cool scene, but I was like, all these people that I was excited for, like, aren't actually going to be in this movie, like, what's going on? And then I actually watched it, and I was like, never mind, it didn't freaking matter.
Wait, what was Flula's character? Like,
The Javelin, I think his name was.
because they were just the most ridiculous characters in that thing, and I just love how he's like, you took it. I think we could just talk about that forever, like the death section of it, but Flula was like my favorite cameo.
Yeah, he was really good.
Oh, man.
My number 8 is a documentary done by my hero, Jimmy Chin. This guy is so incredibly talented in everything he does. He's a pro skier. He's a pro climber. He is a Oscar-winning documentarian, and he followed up his Oscar-winning movie Free Solo with the movie called The Rescue, and it's all about the rescue of that soccer team in Thailand. I can't remember where.
believe.
The one in the
Singapore.
cave?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Singapore,
it was
Thailand, or somewhere over there, where a bunch, you know, this junior soccer team goes down into this cave to play, and there's this monsoon that just like floats in and fills the cave up, and strands the kids like, I can't remember, it's like a mile or two down into the cave, and they have to figure out how to get these kids out, and nobody thinks it's possible. And Jimmy Chin and his team, including his amazing wife, did so much work to get some incredible footage from the local government there that was like, it wasn't lost, but it was just like sealed away,
Like classified stuff.
not even classified, but just like it was during COVID, so no one was like able to work with each other, and it's a lot of it was like body camera footage, and they were able to like work with the government to get this footage to tell this just incredible story of saving the entire team of soccer kids when they were sure that they were all going to die, and if not all of them, at least one of them was going to die in the way that they got them out of this cave. And spoiler for the movie, I mean, it's still worth seeing. I remember following it when it was actually happening. They were able to get these kids out in the most incredible way. So the rescue is definitely worth your time going in and checking out.
It's just heart pounding, like the whole time. Like you're just watching this, and it's so crazy. You're just thinking, "Oh my goodness! Like, how is this gonna happen? How is it gonna work?" And I hadn't followed it, but I was like pretty sure that I like knew the ending and what would happen. But it was still like my heart was going the whole time. It's on number 5, by the way,
Oh, nice.
for me. The rescue is up there, so it was just amazing and crazy. And my heart never stopped pounding the whole time. And there was just so many moments where, like, you either get excited or you get scared or something like that, and then something happens to completely flip it. Like, they got to a point where, also spoilers, so I guess just kind of like skip ahead like 45 seconds because I'll be fast. But like, they get to a point where they're like, we really don't think we can get them out. The best choice is just going to be to wait until the monsoon season's over. We'll just have to like float in and get in like supplies for them for like the next 6 months to live here. But then they pull out like the oxygen like meter, and it's already at unsafe levels. They're like, we don't like
Gonna suffocate.
It's barely like a week or something that they'd be able to stay in here. So amazing. If you haven't seen it, it's on Disney Plus because it's a they have like National Geographic with it, right? Something like
Was
that.
it on Hulu too or something?
It could have been. I don't know. I just know I watched it like
I think you're right.
I watched
think
it a
was
couple
Disney
months
Plus.
ago, and it was on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I haven't looked for it.
I
saw
don't
it
know.
in theaters.
Just look up
so-
the rescue streaming and you'll find it.
Yeah.
Definitely worth it, especially if you've watched Free Solo and enjoyed it, because I know a lot of people have. Jimmy Chin is amazing. So
Yeah, you can watch it on Disney Plus right now.
there you go. Casey with the quick follow-up. Okay. My number 8 was one that is a 2021 movie for its large theatrical release because it had a weird release schedule with how it was supposed to be released. My number 8 is the sequel to my, I think, 2018 number 1 movie of the year, 2019.
Venom 2. Let there be carnage.
I still haven't even seen that.
I haven't either.
Crazy, right? A Quiet Place Part 2.
Oh, that was last year?
Last
That
year.
was 21.
Whoops. That
Because
should
it
probably
was
be on my
supposed
list
to be
somewhere.
20, but it was literally supposed to be what? It was like the end of March. Like, I literally had tickets to go see it
Yeah.
before everything got shut
Can we
down.
put that on my honorable mentions list? Because I forgot that it was in 2021. It was
There you go.
great.
I love A Quiet Place Part 2, and while it definitely didn't end up living up to, like, the first one, like, with what I loved, just because it was not, like, a lot of the same, like, it was bad, just, like, it was more of the same stuff. Like, it was still really good and really tense, and I loved Cillian Murphy in it. I feel like he played an amazing role in it, with the mostly absence, because he was in part of it, John Krasinski, where they show, like, prequel stuff happening, like, right near the beginning of the movie. And I love it. Millicent Simmons and Emily Blunt just do incredible work, and Cillian Murphy along there with it. And there's a couple of moments, especially right at the beginning, that just shock you, right? Like, the bear trap. Oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah, the bear trap.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyways, so yeah, my number 8 is A Quiet Place Part 2.
So my number 8 was actually The Conjuring. The Devil Made Me Do It. I'm a huge fan of the Conjuring franchise, and this one essentially is talking about it's trying to disprove the it's essentially existence of evil in court, and it kind of like talks about a number of things, and that there are witches and devil worship and stuff like this, and it's actually like for those people, I forget what they're called. It is the Warrens. It's a case disproving their stuff type thing. So it's pretty good stuff. Yeah, Conjuring. The Devil Made Me Do It.
My number 7 was, I think, one of 2 Marvel movies to make my list. Black Widow. It kind of flew, like, I almost forgot that this movie came out this last year, but I was like, oh no, yeah, it was good. And then I went back, and I haven't rewatched it actually since it first came out, but I was just going back and thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, well, it's not like my favorite Marvel movie. Is kind of fairly generic. I still liked it, And I mean, it had Scarlett Johansson and Florence Pugh in the same movie. Like, what can I say? Black Widow was definitely a Marvel movie. I still loved it, nonetheless.
I did too. I really enjoyed it, and I was honestly surprised when I left, like how down people were on it. Some people were on it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not my favorite. It's just kind of a middle-of-the-line movie, but I remember walking out and being like, that was an entertaining Marvel movie.
I'm excited for... I feel like it was a good end for Scarlett Johansson, especially after her actual end, you know, in the timeline. And I feel like it was a great introduction. I'm super pumped for Florence Pugh. Yeah. I feel like what she's already done in Hawkeye was super cool, and I'm looking forward to whatever else Yelena does.
Yeah, for sure.
So...
I did watch that one. I didn't put it on my list. That should be an honorable mention for me,
See,
too.
We knew that. Yeah. We knew you'd have more.
Yeah.
I got 2 of those Marvels, I guess, that are honorable mentions. That one and Shang-Chi didn't make my list either, but I enjoyed
Shang-Chi
both of those. Like, really enjoyed them.
Agreed.
I thought the fighting, the choreography in Shang-Chi was incredible.
Amazing. I loved Awkwafina. Hilarious.
Yeah, and she's funny, and the guy who plays Shang-Chi, I can't remember his name, is good, too.
I don't remember his name either, but I follow him on Twitter, and he's hilarious.
Simu.
He's so funny.
Simu Lee?
Simu Lee. Yes, there you go. Yes, something like that. Sorry if we butchered it, but yeah, I was like Simu, something Simu.
Yeah, I was kind of like drowning in exposure to him at the time because I was watching Kim's Convenience right before that came out too. So I was like, oh, this guy, I know him.
So you know that. Yeah.
Okay, my number 7. I don't need to talk about this one much either, and also my number 6 is King Richard, so we'll just skip right past that one. So my number 7 was Licorice Pizza, another Oscar movie that I really liked. Somehow it made me nostalgic for a time and a place that I never grew up in. And if a movie can do that, then I feel like it was a success. So
who's naming these movies? Peanut Butter Falcon, Licorice Pizza, Driving My Car. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
This one, the idea of this one, I don't know if this is why he named it, but my interpretation of it, licorice pizza are like 2 things that don't go together, right? Mm-hmm. Like nobody puts licorice on their pizza, and the whole idea of this movie is about this girl, this boy and this girl who literally can't go together for age differences. You know, like it's about an older woman and a young kid who, because of that, can't be together, just like licorice and pizza shouldn't be together. But yeah, that's my interpretation of it. I don't know if it actually is what it was.
Casey.
My number 6 was The French Dispatch. Was that released last year or this year?
Yeah, I still haven't seen it.
Okay, so I'm not going to give major spoilers, but it's just an art film by Wes Anderson, and I love Wes Anderson films. So, all right, so yeah, The French Dispatch. It's definitely worth a watch. I think if you have HBO Max, it's still on there. But as per usual, Wes Anderson film kind of talk there. It's got some weird moments in it, and I love it. So there you go.
His movies are just so unique. There's nothing like them. So you know exactly what you're gonna get, and if you're not into his movies, you're not gonna like it. But if you are, then you're probably gonna like it.
I haven't seen it yet, but what an all-star cast, right? Just absolutely insane. That's what it was. I didn't see it, but what's her name from No Time to Die? Is in The French Dispatch. And I apologize.
I haven't watched No Time to Die, so I can't say. But I really want to say something really quick. Do you guys watch the train spotting guy, Francis Bourgeois or whatever, like on Instagram or TikTok? Mm-hmm. So this guy went on a train that's the Queen's train that Wes Anderson designed a carriage in today, and it was just everything you can imagine how like Wes Anderson-y this train carriage was. So just cool. Random fact. I
didn't know that even existed.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I will send you a video, and you will like. This guy is like kind of like just a goofy dude, and he's the face of. I don't know if it's Gucci or one of those companies now. He's just like the face of their like stuff. He walked the red carpet, the runway during Paris Fashion Week. But cool. He like just was this guy who like talked about his hobby. It was like he's like, and he tells a story. So yeah. Francis Bourgeois, I think is his name, but Wes Anderson, carriage, and that's the end of my TED Talk. But who's up? So that was my number 6. So who's got a number 5 they want to talk about?
I think I've got my number 6. So my number 6 was a movie that I needed to see again for missing the end in a very peculiar fashion in the movie theater I went to. Number 6 is Edgar Wright's Last Night in Soho. I feel like this movie kind of it got advertised, but it still kind of flew under so many people's radar this year. And while I definitely didn't enjoy it as much as like Baby Driver or anything like that, like this movie was still very good. He set the scene perfectly, the way that it transitions back and forth through time, the cool sort of twist ending that it has, and like the sound and the colors, the production design, the sound, because you know we have like our old maybe it's still on, I don't know, sorry, I always like sorry since we put time into it, but I like skip like the intro of our podcast because I'm like, I know this, like it's coming, but like then saying like music is the core of this movie for Baby Driver, right? While it's maybe not as much so, there's still so many times where music and lighting cues and everything else line up in this movie. And I feel like that just takes a movie to the next level. It's so cool where even though it's so strange, you have this weird eerie music that has this beat, and this light that flickers outside of her window goes along with that beat, and it flashes when the beat hits, and it's so cool, and it just is like the next level. And I feel like Last Night in Soho did a really good job of that. I absolutely love Thomasin McKenzie. She was a main actress in 2 of my favorite top 10 movies from this year, and it's just amazing.
Sorry, dog again.
You're good.
That is my number 5.
Yes.
So I've fallen up there. Last Night in Soho. I loved it. I can't say anything better than what you just said. It was really
Anya Taylor-Joy.
fun.
I didn't mention her, but she was amazing.
Yeah, Last Night in Soho. I love Edgar Wright movies. I love that he, again, like we talked about this a little bit earlier about letting an artist take a movie and just run with it. He's one of these guys that can still do that is still allowed to do that. Except for I guess he did lose Ant-Man back in the day, but I don't know. Edgar Wright's just he's just a pro. Like he knows what he's doing. And
You're gonna look forward to his next project.
Yeah,
whenever he does it, right?
whatever he does, I'll see whatever he does. It doesn't matter what genre it's in. I loved that he kind of mixes genres with this too. You know, he did the same thing with Baby Driver, doing kind of a musical, action musical, and this is kind of a thriller mixed with a period
20s,
piece,
like with like a mystery sort of coming of age.
Yeah, horror twist. I don't know.
That's what it was.
It's fantastic, and
Totally.
actually, just like talking about it and listening to everything you just said, Josh, makes me like I was sitting here thinking, I wonder where I can stream that tonight.
Yeah. So watch it.
You're like, it's time to watch it again.
Have you seen Last Night in Soho, Casey?
Nope.
Big recommend. Yeah, I loved it. It was very cool.
Eternals. I know for a lot of folks they just didn't like it. I just like I watched it the first time and I enjoyed it because it was just, if in some parts it felt big and cinematic, and some parts of it like you could kind of like get down to the relationships part of things, which was a big part of this, right? Like the Eternals is a group of people who are just kind of tasked to do things, and it kind of wanes on you and deteriorates out, blah 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 blah, right? And that was kind of what I liked about it, was they found a way to overcome, and it wasn't exactly the way you would have expected it. And I liked it because, well, Marvel's done a good job at actually bringing in death into Marvel movies.
Yeah,
and
true.
and because at first I thought like, oh, nobody ever dies except for the bad guys, and so some of the perceived good guys actually do die, and like it kind of changes things, and like it also shows that it's not just black and white, that there is like a gray area to a lot of things.
True.
And you know, what's her name? Selma Hayek. She's in it.
Uh-huh.
And that guy Barry, the guy who's the Joker in the new Batman, Barry Kagan or whatever his name is, he's awesome. And I really like the guy who's from, I guess 2 guys from Game of Thrones are in, Jon Snow and his older brother, who is actually a, whatever you call it, I just forgot his name though. But anyhow, so it's just kind of like a cool thing. I know not a lot of people loved it, but I enjoyed it a lot. So
I thought it was interesting to see how who directed it. What's her name again?
Oh, Chloe Zhao.
Chloe Zhao. Yeah. I thought it was interesting how she took her style of filmmaking, you know, using these really pretty landscape shots, and tried to incorporate that in a blockbuster movie. I thought that was interesting.
yeah.
It did make some of those scenes a lot more interesting than some of these other kind of green screen Marvel movies.
Yeah.
But I expected more out of it because they got this Oscar-winning director, you know,
True.
to and people talked about that these sprawling landscapes were really beautifully shot, and then when I don't know, I thought it would be more noticeable than what it was. It was kind of like these beautiful shots, and then they would put too much CGI in it, and it kind of like distracted from the beautiful shots, and that's kind of a bummer.
I feel like that's what's the hard balance with Marvel movies.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like they haven't quite like they figured out the formula to get butts in seats, right, and to watch it and be involved in it. But like there are some parts where it's just like this isn't right, and that's kind of where it was for me. But I enjoyed it overall, and I actually watched it 3 times.
Oh, nice.
And so for me, and the limited TV watching I watched outside of YouTube,
Worked for you.
It worked for me. So
Cool.
Very nice. All right, Casey's 5. We'll go ahead with 4. Vince, why don't you start?
Mine will be quick again, because we talked about this one in the Oscars episode. The Mitchells versus the Machines is one of the best animated movies ever released. It's groundbreaking in the way that they animate it. It's entertaining. It's funny. It's really cool to look at. Check out Mitchells versus the Machines.
Very nice. My number 4 is my last Oscars one. And I was actually surprised kind of when I was making this list that of the Oscars ones, this is the one that ended up making it the highest for me. But my number 4 ended up being Don't Look Up. I really love Don't Look Up. I feel like the direction that Adam McKay took this movie, it was done really well. Obviously, like there's a lot of other better things that Leonardo DiCaprio's been or Jennifer Lawrence has been in, but I feel like it was done really well. It was funny. The way that they covered the content that they needed to and like the subject that they were wanting to was really well done. I feel like it was, I don't know, I just really liked it, and I also really liked the soundtrack to it at the same time, and that's just all of those things when I was looking at it, and I was like, yeah, for my own personal likes and interests, like in what I ended up liking this year, none of like the best picture like nominees really stood out as like, yes, like I loved him so much that it's like, because you know before you had like Parasite, and I was like, yes, I loved Parasite and other things like that, but you know this year it was Don't Look Up ended up being the one that I enjoyed the most, so Don't Look Up is my number 4.
So my number 4 might surprise people because it's just my number 4. A lot of people love this, but No Way Home came out in 2021, right?
Spider-Man No Way Home?
Yeah.
That's your number 4?
Yeah.
That's my number 2.
Yeah, Spider-Man No Way Home is my number 4. And it probably could have went a little higher if I'd watched it more recently, where I watched other movies more recently and they kind of like resonated with me really well. So, yeah, we can definitely chat about that. But No Way Home, loved seeing all 3. Oh, can we go into that spoilers territory? Sorry, I can edit this.
They have it. They have all of their ads that they have on Facebook and YouTube now
have all 3. Okay.
All 3 of them.
So, yeah, I just love seeing all 3 Spider-Men. Like, it brought back my childhood, my early 20s, and then, boom, the now. So it was like, here and there and back again. A Hobbit's Tale by the Spider-Man. Like, that was kind of a thing, and, like, it was fun. So, yeah, Spider-Man No Way Home.
So much fun.
I can't believe you would trash my number 1 movie.
Oh, dang.
Spider-Man No Way Home, my number 1. I mean, obviously, number 4, it's not like it's like, oh, yeah, that missed my list or anything like that.
I'm just interested to see what your number 1 is. Well, I think I already know what his number 1 is.
I think I might have both of your guys' number 1, which is not on my list.
At all?
I told you I haven't actually seen it yet.
Oh.
And I still haven't.
Right.
So I feel like even though I know... What? I know.
Audience is lost. They don't know what we're talking about.
Everyone's gone.
It's going to be a good surprise.
Sorry, we're getting there.
All right.
Anyways, Spider-Man No Way Home. We'll go back to it. My number 1 movie. And yes, especially just, you know, right, those moments where we first see them for the first time. Because it's been so rumored and everything for so long. And you're thinking, maybe it will, maybe it won't. But even because we saw it in a theater of what? Like, they had those really big, nice seats. So even though the theater was, like, full, it's not like there was a ton of people in there. But just when those moments happened, it was like you were at a stadium of 10,000 people. Yeah! Just crazy. Oh, my goodness. That... I watched it again recently because it became available, and I bought it because I was like, whatever, I want it. So I bought it, and I watched it again, and it was just, it's funny.
I love that.
It's hilarious.
I bought it because, I wanted it.
Exactly.
I actually don't even remember where I watched Spider-Man No Way Home. Like, that's, like, I'm not trying to say it, like, to be like it wasn't memorable. But I watched it, and I had a lot of fun during it, but I can't remember, did I watch it down at my parents' house? Did I watch it up at the theater here? Did I watch it at home? I don't remember. All I remember was I was like, what? I think I actually went to the theater up here.
Nice.
by myself. I think I went and watched it by
Yeah,
myself, so that might be why. I just kind of like it was like another day, but it was a good movie. And so like I'm not trying to trash anyone. If it was your number one, that's great and fine.
Yeah.
But
There's just not very many Marvel movies that you don't just walk out feeling like, yeah, that was a Marvel movie. And this one, you laugh, you cry, you laugh again, you're tense. Like I went through all the emotions in this one. Like there was consequences in this one. The freaking Andrew Garfield came back and was vindicated after years of being like called like the worst Spider-Man. Like so many moments just like
And what
redemption.
About, what about the redemption moment, huh? When MJ falls off of the...
Yes. It's freaking heart-wrenching.
And you see that shot, right? And it obviously purposefully mirrors the shot in The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
And you see Tom Holland go for it, right? And then boom, he gets taken, and everyone, oh my gosh, what's gonna? And then it shows Andrew and everyone's like, yeah, because it shows him go for it, and you're like, oh, this is cool. Like it was an all right like shot and sequence, like when Tom Holland goes to save her, and then Green Goblin takes him away. So, okay, we're crazy spoilers here. Sorry, like,
I went with
haven't-
you, Vince, to this movie. We
Oh,
saw
yeah! That's right. I forgot.
Mind
I was just like
explosion.
remembering the conversation. I was like, we talked about this together
Yeah.
after we walked out of the theater. Sorry, Vince and I watched
No,
this.
We
no.
did. I remember that. Apparently,
you
I
go.
didn't remember where I saw it either.
Oh yeah, but yeah, and then so yeah, it was like a good shot and with Tom Holland, and then all of a sudden he gets swept away, and you see Andrew Garfield do it, and it's just
He does so much with so little. Like he has like one word or something there, where she asks him if he's okay, and he asks, or it's vice
Or
versa.
he's
he
like,
asks, "Are you okay?" And she
and
asks,
she's
"Are
like,
you okay?"
And she's like, yeah, and he's just there, like, and you can tell how
You just
emotional he
see
is
it.
because of the moment, and she's like, "Are you okay?" She's like, "Yeah." And then also, even though I think that Andrew Garfield definitely was kind of like the standout of said year, which by the way, what an amazing year. Again, we'll say it by Andrew Garfield, but like I think he was a standout of that. But there was also the Tobey Maguire moments, which were incredible, and I loved all of them. But can I just especially say the end, where Tom Holland he gets to the point where he can't control. Like he tries, he can't.
No
control
words were
himself.
said there either.
Yeah, no words, not a single one. And he goes to take the remains of the sharp bits of the what do you call
Glider.
it? The goblin glider. And he goes to stab Willem Dafoe, who also did an excellent job. You know, I'm something of a scientist myself. and not even just that he's there and doing it, but just that close up of Tobey Maguire's face. Oh my gosh. I just can't. There were so many amazing things, and I won't go too far into it, but I just wanted to mention that while we were on it, because it was my number one.
He was trying
Yeah,
to be
heck yeah.
better, and it was great.
Oh my gosh. And then the end, all the ambiguity, when he goes into the coffee shop, and
So 3 was Suicide Squad, and 2 was No Way Home for me. So I'm down to my number 1. So we can.
All right.
so 3 and 2. My 3?
Yeah.
Okay, my 3 was one that was kind of crazy, and for some reason, I'm just checking real quick the release date to make sure that I'm not freaking crazy.
Are you just giving us a 2022 film as your number one film of 2021?
No,
I mean,
it
I
was-
did that last year. Was
I
just
think
that
one
is
year I
true.
just like gave us like films from like 4 different years. That's my
You're
number.
like, I saw these last year. So my one
These are
is
movies.
one that got very, very mixed reviews, and like I understood why, but at the same time I didn't, because I loved the movie, I loved the actors, and I loved the twist, and I loved M. Night Shyamalan's Old.
Oh wow!
Oh
it's
my
that high.
goodness. Number 3, like I loved it. Yes, I considered number 2, but I was like, no, I like my top 2 movies. Old was really good. I liked it. Did you see it, Vince?
No, I still haven't, and I still
Casey?
haven't had it spoiled for me either.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's not spoiled. It is kind of like, the thing is, I think that's a good one because there's a lot of them that are very easy to spoil, right? Like, I watched freaking 50 First Dates before I watched
Oh, Sixth
Shyamalan.
Sense.
Yeah, The Sixth Sense. I watched freaking 50 First Dates before I watched The Sixth Sense, and it literally spoils it in that. Like, 50 First Dates spoils... Like, it was still amazing when I watched it, but it's like, that's a very easy one to spoil. This one is a very weird one to spoil. So it's like, like I understand why it hasn't been spoiled for you, because it's like a strange twist, but I really really like it, and it's thought provoking, and they do a really really good job, and it got mixed reviews, but Thomas and Mackenzie does an amazing job, and just like the other actors as they go along, it's just this very weird tale, and like the implications that, you know, because this isn't a spoiler because it's from the trailers. Basically, they're on this beach where time just starts going faster, right, and they can't get out, but time starts going. It's basically like an hour is like 7 years, or it's like something like that, right? And so it's just like all of the implications that happen with that. You all of a sudden start experiencing time at an extremely accelerated rate. What happens, the implications of it, why it's happening, all of these things, very very cool. And yeah, like I kind of understood the mixed reviews, but at the same time I was like, I don't know why. Like I still loved it. It's my number 3 movie of the year, in a year of a lot of really amazing movies.
My number 3 was Dune.
Wow.
What? Yeah.
So everything that we were saying earlier about knowing
wasn't true.
No, we were wrong.
Have I thrown you off now?
Yeah.
'Cause
I have no idea what your number 1's going to be now.
Yeah, so number 3 was Dune, and here's why. I wanted to put Dune at the very top of the pyramid and be like, this was it. But I also like had to think about the movies that have impacted me the most, that like made me feel, right? And so that's where I've changed kind of the vein, because like Dune, sorry, I'm gonna edit this, fucking amazing. Like I don't even care. Like I loved Dune, and like I bought it. Like I bought it before even watching it. That's how much I knew I was gonna love it. So yeah, fanboy of Dune here, but not my number 1, but my number 3.
And we can wait, like on that one. Kind of.
Okay.
Was your number 2?
My number 2 is Through the Eyes of Tammy Faye. I watched it literally after we left here with like, so the very first movie after leaving here was we watched Nightmare Alley, and then like 3 days later, Mom was like, I heard this is an amazing show, Through the Eyes of Tammy Faye, and we watched it, and I loved it so much. Like, not only is it like great storytelling, like very fun, like kind of like flashy goodness of like the 80s, and like kind of like telling a story of the rise of televangelism and kind of what happened there, but like the acting was on par. It had oh my gosh, Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield, and then it also just had
Jessica Chastain.
I was gonna call her Bryce Dallas Howard, but that's not right. But yeah, like
It also had D'Onofrio, whatever his first name is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like there was just a really good cast there, and it was very well told and very well done. So yeah, my number 2 is Through the Eyes of Tammy Faye.
All right. Wow, that's high up there.
Sorry,
I really liked it too.
I'm so glad I threw you guys off though. Like I know you guys were expecting.
I still
Dune.
don't know.
Dune is the only word that came out of your mouth on the last episode. So
I was ready. I thought we were gonna have a nice little like I would do my 3 and 2, and Casey would have whatever at 2, and then we just get down to your guys' number 1.
Yeah.
And I just, what in the world? So I still don't know what Casey's number 1 is gonna be now. I'm excited, but
You
all right.
can't see me. I'm just keeping on the John Cena theme tonight.
Spider-Man at 4, Dune at 3. Casey's full of surprises. So, my number 2, Encanto. I loved Encanto a lot. I watched it multiple times. I love the soundtrack, even though it can get boring a lot of times. We talked a lot about Encanto last time, right? I love the story. It's very cute. Like it felt very you could tell obviously that it was like just like the Disney movie and not Pixar, but a lot of the way that the storytelling went, it felt very Pixar-esque, and I really enjoyed it. So much more that obviously that Encanto is number 2, while Luca was an honorable mention for me this year. So yeah, just we talked about Encanto a lot last time. So Encanto, my number 2, and then my number 1 was Spider-Man No Way Home. So all right, so we're down to the number 1s. Mine was Spider-Man No Way Home. I think maybe we just end up with.
I think Casey's got to be last.
Yeah, I was about to say we got to end up on whatever the surprise is.
But,
so
sorry.
I was just gonna say my number 1 was Dune. It's a masterpiece in cinema. Dune. It's a sci-fi epic that has been attempted to be made before, and people said that it couldn't be done, and Denis Villeneuve just came up and was just like, I got this, guys. Like, calm down. This isn't that hard. Like, let me show you how to make a masterpiece. here it is. I
100%.
And it was anything but.
He just kind of shot it out.
He's like, here it is.
There we go. We just made a masterpiece. Dune's amazing. Dune looks incredible. Dune sounds incredible. Dune won so many Oscars and deserved so many Oscars. I will forever harp on the fact that Denis Villeneuve was robbed of even a nomination for a director's Oscar, Best Director Oscar. Dune's just I'm a sucker for a sci-fi, and this felt like in a world of green screens of Star Wars and Marvel green screens. It just feels good to have a epic sci-fi adventure that doesn't feel like it was filmed on a green screen, that actually feels like it was filmed or actually was filmed like out in the desert. It just
They
incredible.
filmed in Norway, like around Dubai. They filmed in a lot of different places with Dune. So
and you can just tell, like those Marvel movies, they're fun, they're great, but they all kind of devolve into just like, you can tell it's kind of a green screened action scene, and this just, it feels like it just has a feel to it. Dune does.
Well, and the costumes are real. Like everything is real. Like CGI costumes, you can tell like that they're CGI. Like they don't quite have something to them, and like everything was real as they could make it. And you
just feel it. It's an incredible work of art, and I loved it. And it's easily my number one.
There we go. So we each have a different number one then, because we got Spider-Man: No Way Home, we have Dune, and then Casey's.
I am so excited to see what this is. You want to take a guess? Should
Yeah.
we both
I don't
want
want to take a guess and then steal your thunder from you saying it though.
Oh yeah.
So
that's
I
true.
will put a letter up under the table, which is the first letter of what I think it is, and you can tell me if it's right.
yeah,
Is it right?
Yeah.
I got it.
yeah,
No way.
yeah.
Okay, sorry. We'll stop keeping the viewers waiting. And Vince.
My number one is Luca.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was my favorite film of.
I just realized, because I remember last week you talking about
Yeah.
it and how much you loved it, and then I just realized I went back and was trying to remember. I was like, I don't think he said Luca.
Yeah, Luca is my favorite film of 2021, and there's an array of reasons behind it. Like I needed something that was just, one, entertaining, two, it was fun. It was an adventure, right? It's like going into the unknown. Like if you've watched Luca, you'll know, like, it's breaking out, like experiencing something new and just being like a duck out of water, essentially. You're a merman out of water, and it's amazing and fun. And like, sure, is it the greatest movie of all time? No. But like, one, like I have to say this again, like it's fun to have a little bit of like actual representation that was like so nonchalant. Like, oh no, this man has one arm and he's running around. Like, not really my thing. And he just kind of does his thing and he's just kind of there. And I also just kind of like the actual like transformative process of the series, right? Like the show, I guess it's not series, but the show, where he just kind of evolves from this kid who's like really nervous and timid into someone confident and curious, and like the characters display a world like that we ought to live in more so, like and like, but it does showcase like things being different and scary to people, and like how we react poorly at times, but also like the dad, he just kind of like steps up and says, I know who these people are. They are these people. And I don't know, it reminded me a little bit of like Schitt's Creek. Like it's the world as it should be, which is more welcoming and understanding, and despite there being people who might not always understand it, they still want to work with the people as they are. And at least that was my perception of it, right? Like a story can be interpreted 100 different ways, but I liked it for a number of reasons, and so that's why Luca was my number one film of 2021.
And the one we didn't mention last week that I think I forgot to mention was, I thought the voice acting was incredible as well. And it's what's his name? Jacob
Tremblay.
Jacob Tremblay, the guy who's the kid in Room.
Oh wow.
Is the voice actor for Luca.
He's also
He's
in
growing
the
up.
other show where he has the ears.
And then
Wonder.
Wonder, yeah.
yes. And then the other boy, which I forget his name, not Luca, but the other one.
Alberto.
Alberto. Alberto. What a year for Bruno in Disney, though, huh? Because Silencio Bruno, and we don't talk about Bruno. I never thought about that. But anyway, sorry, that's a weird tangent. But like, Alberto is voiced by, I don't know his name, but it's the kid in It.
His name is Jack Dylan Grazer.
Jack Dylan Grazer. I'll show you.
Yeah.
Is he the kid
guy right
in?
He's
Yeah.
with the.
He's in the Shazam too.
Yep.
Yes.
I like that kid.
He's in there. And then like Maya Rudolph is in there as well. Jim Gaffigan.
She's the mom, right?
Was in
Jim
there.
Gaffigan was in it?
Yeah, he's the dad. And
Maya Rudolph and Jim Gaffigan. This is the mom and dad.
Yeah. It's just really good. Yulia.
I loved Luca. I watched it with my nieces, and you know, when you're watching it with little kids, you're talking through the whole thing.
Yeah.
I could not stop talking in that freaking Italian accent. I love Italy. I don't know why I've never been there, but it's
We'll just
like
go then.
top of my list of countries to go to. So just like being able to just like immerse myself in this hour and a half experience in Italy with these kids, I'm just like, I want to be there. I just want to go to Italy. I want to eat all the food. I want to play on the Vespas. I want to get in the race. I want to do it all. I want to befriend a merman.
Yeah. It's I don't know. If my wife and I were to like have a child, that's where I'd want to go on our baby moon, like, cuz you can just eat and have fun and just it's chill all the time.
Pasta. I love pasta so much. Oh my gosh.
So
Just
good.
eat all the freaking time. But even if we didn't have a baby, I think I'd just like to travel there and eat. Like
Let's
my
go.
favorite cookbook.
You wanna go?
Yeah, let's
All right.
do it. Let's
Pause
find
Wine
cheap
Place
tickets.
2022 abroad in Italy.
Yeah.
Just recording from like this random cafe in Italy, and they bring us like the linguine from this, and like like I don't know, we can go to
I wish.
Napoleon, get some real Neapolitan pizza because it's very specific,
Yes.
has to be.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I watched the show, the Tucci episode. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Stanley Tucci's.
Have you read his book?
No, but I watched his TV show all about Italy, and I was like, I need to go. I need to go
It's
there.
mouth watering. I'm salivating right now.
Me too. I'm kind of hungry.
Let's wrap it up then.
Yeah, guys, let's wrap it up. So, Josh, one more time, what was your number one?
My number one is Spider-Man: No Way Home.
And Vince?
Dune stole it from me.
And for me, it was Luca. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to our podcast. Like, these are just fun for us to do. I can't say that we've made a fortune off of sitting here talking to you for hours, but what we've made is a fortune of friendship. And I would say that that is the actual value of this podcast.
Isn't that the
for
real
us.
treasure? Wasn't that the treasure all along?
But, yeah, no, it's just great to be there. Do you guys have any other closing thoughts before we end it?
Please let us know your top 10s of 2021, top 3s, whatever you want to do. Just comment on one of our Instagram posts that we'll have up about this and let us know, because this was super fun. I loved seeing your guys' top 10, so I'd love to see any other perspectives.
Yes, same. Let's do it. So we'll put up the episode, and then please just comment on our posts. And I don't know. I'm thinking maybe we ought to get the camera in here and just live stream an episode one of these times, just for kicks and giggles, and see how that would be.
Yeah, I'll have to toy with that.
Yeah.
See if I can figure it out.
We would definitely have to toy with it. But yeah, guys, thank you once again for tuning into the Pause Rewind Play. Thank you for tuning in to the Pause Rewind Play podcast, and we'll catch you next time.